Well, hey there. Welcome to the Pawpaw Chronicles and More with Jim. I'm out here taking a look at these pawpaws in this tree. That being said, this tree I've shared before. It was a root sucker that I brought here 2007, 2008 from a gentleman down the road who has since passed. And it it's an unknown variety. I don't think he knew what variety it was. He came from Virginia. I suspect he brought him up here from Virginia. He allowed me to dig up the root suckers. That root sucker there, well, you're looking 14, 15 years old. That being said, earlier this year I started to cut that tree down, and I elected not to because it was loaded with flowers for the first time. And I thought to myself, use it as a pollinator for the tree next to it. But what ended up happening was, not only did it pollinate that tree, but that tree pollinated this one. Now out in the yard I have a sunflower that's got a couple fruit sets in it I allowed to produce for the first time this year. And that's a known variety. I'll have an opportunity to give my own assessment as to that particular variety. However, this one right here, the fruit is large, just as large as the fruit that's in the sunflower out there in the yard. And I'm excited. It's the first time it ever fruited, and I'm going to have an opportunity to taste that fruit and see what it's like. You never know what it could turn out. If it turns out to be good eating fruit, large fruit at that, I'll collect scion wood off of it to graft next year out in full sunlight to preserve it if it's a good tree. That being said, for those of you that follow me on this channel, and for some that follow on the Facebook channel, Pawpaw Chronicles, I just want to let you know one of the reasons why I created the Pawpaw Chronicles Facebook group is because of content. Content gives me ideas of what I want to talk about in the videos that I shoot for YouTube. So I'm allowing YouTube and Facebook to work hand in hand with what it is I want to do. And that being said, somebody posed a question on Pawpaw Chronicles, and I wanted to share the question with you. Turn that down. Bug crawling on my arm. I was talking about the sunflower at the time, and somebody had asked a question. When you graft a tree and get fruit, which species is a fruit seed? Well, the seed itself is going to end up being a result of the cross of whatever the fruit was, the tree was pollinated by, which will be its own individual. It'll be somewhat like the parent tree, but not 100%. It'll be its own particular variety. And they went on and asked, so when do grafting like that, so when you do grafting like that, species specific, are you going for taste of fruit or growth potential? Well, me myself, I'm a connoisseur of flavor, as well as a lot of folks out there, and I want to see how different varieties taste. I've yet to actually put my hand on varieties other than one variety, which was a lemon variety, and it was very good. But I want to be able to put my hands on particular varieties to give my own assumption of what it is I taste. My assumption may not be the same as the assumption of some of you that are following the page. And it's just like, right now I'm sitting on 14 different varieties, and one variety has fruited, and now I have one here that's fruited, and I've got a couple wild trees that have fruited. But I want to really talk about what it is that I'm doing. I want to be able to get to a point to where I can ascertain, in my own opinion, what fruits that I would prefer versus others when it comes to pawpaws. But the thing about it is, if I like a Honeycrisp apple, why would I plant a whole bunch of Red Delicious apples? It wouldn't make sense. If I like a Honeycrisp apple, I'm going to plant a whole bunch of Honeycrisp apples because that's my forte. And eventually it'll get to a point that, that I'll try the different varieties of pawpaws and be able to share my opinion of different varieties. And this one right here, I'm pretty excited about it. If it turns out to be a good fruit, has good size, we'll take a look at seed to pulp ratio, for my opinion, and see what happens. I do know this. The sunflower is kind of oblong from what I'm seeing. Some round, but for the most part, kind of oblong. And supposedly a good sized fruit, which that tree has good sized fruit. However, this tree right here, the fruit is the same size as the fruit inside that sunflower, but it's more round. Got more of a roundness to it. And from what I've read, that would be more closer towards maybe an overleaf, a Wabash. I don't know, but we'll find out. And if it turns out to be a good flavor, I'm going to collect a scion off that tree, and I'm going to put some of them out in the sun in the yard to see what happens in full sunlight. Or another route that I probably am going to go with is one of them, fruit sucker. I'll probably dig a few of them up, and one of them I'll put out into the yard to grow out, because the fruit will come off that much quicker, I think, than a grafted tree, unless I graft into another root sucker. Root suckers tend to grow a lot faster than the seedlings, and a lot of it's got to do with root establishment. Pawpaws, amazing little trees to deal with. Well, anyways, my name's Jim. If you like what you see, subscribe. Don't forget to click on that bell for notifications. Any comments or questions that you may have, I welcome. Y'all have a God bless day.